As a single professional, I had debt and no savings after my divorce. I always wonder how I can start investing in real estate to secure my future. I studied programs that gave me all the benefits of investing in real estate. Some claim I could start with no money, but I could not find one that gave me the practical, actionable steps I needed. As a wealth advisor, I've met people that own real estate but weren't ahead financially. They were rich, but they weren't wealthy. Then I finally realized that there was one vital component missing that makes someone become wealthy or not. And on this show, I will reveal what I found and give you the step-by-step actions to start investing in real estate and increase your wealth. My name is Araceli. Let's get started. Welcome everyone. This is Araceli, Transition Wealth Advisor and Real Estate Investor in the US and Canada. And today I have with me a very nice lady, very interesting story, Yulia Urukova. And she's gonna tell us, first of all, what she does and how she got herself into real estate investing. Welcome, Yulia. Can you tell us who you are, what you do right now, and how you got yourself investing in real estate?
Hi, Araceli. First of all, thank you for inviting me and giving me opportunity to share my story. It's a real pleasure.
Thank you.
And just so that I will tell a little bit about myself. I am a business consultant and I do strategic business growth and process improvement. That's my work. And then I work with small businesses and entrepreneurs that want to really create flow and prepare the systems and processes to go to the next level. And that's my passion in that industry. I love helping people with that. And to share with you the story how I got started in real estate, it's very interesting. Since I was just came to Canada maybe 20 years ago, I was very much into Kiyosaki books, right? Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
And he was talking about real estate all the time. But I was a student and it was just like a fascinating idea and looking for opportunities to invest. And long story short, it took me almost all this time to become a homeowner myself. But I was always looking for, I would say, non-traditional ways to invest in real estate because of the way market is in Canada. And opportunities were just coming in, and I was learning to various means. And
so this is something actually very interesting that you said, that even though you started a while ago listening to different information about real estate investing, it took you a while to get there, but you never lost focus on that. And that is very important that I want the listeners to hear, because sometimes we think that we're behind the ball, that we didn't start it 20 years ago. But the fact is that you have to start when you're ready to get started. So it doesn't matter the times are always going to change. We're going to have pandemics, we're going to have this and that, and things that happen in our lives just doesn't have to be the pandemic. We all go through life transitions. Like I went through a divorce. It was awful, job transitions and all of that. So it's important to see that how, like, Julia never lost sight of what she wanted to do. So that's very interesting. So tell me more.
So this is very great. I think also people need to be very careful, because right now there's a lot of information you can see. There's a lot of programs, a lot of opportunities, and people promote various things. And I've observed this over the years as well. But sometimes they don't tell you the full story, right? Like with Kiyosaki, if you really try to understand, start with real estate. He started in real estate like way back, and he bought his first property on a credit card. So this is not something, put your deposit with a credit card. This is not something you can even dream about doing.
I wish I could do that.
Absolutely. So you have to be careful about those things. And the biggest challenge is for people to really take that leap of faith and start. what you really need is take action, right? And sometimes it will be uncomfortable. So for us, starting, we needed to buy a home for ourselves to live. I was just newly married, and me and my husband were looking for a property. But the fact that we could not decide, should we live in a house, should we live in a condo, should we check different areas within a GTA, or should we move somewhere out? There were so many options, and things were, we started, it was 2017, 2016, 2017 when we married and started looking for property. And the marketplace was crazy.
Oh yeah.
The houses were sold like 300,000-400,000 over asking. The bidding wars were real. And then you feel like, what can I do to really put my foot in the door and start doing investments, right? Even for a place to live, like a lot of people in this situation. But it was very uncomfortable because there's many steps required, and a good part is that we got help along the way. So we found a person who helped us to understand the mortgage. I found a good realtor that helped us to understand the process of buying home. You need that team to support you, because there's just too many things to navigate.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another thing that, that's why I do the show, for people to see that everybody comes from a different direction. There is not really a one way to do things. But important is that you get associated with the right people that have the right kind of information. Because if you just listen to a book or do an ad, whatever, it's just not going to give you what is important to you and how you can get into the market. So yeah, that's important, very important. So you got yourself into property, right?
Yes, happy homeowners, and learning all the ropes that come with it. And I think also a good point about it. So the way I understand, really going, like I went to different seminars and looked into investing with tax lien in the US. We tried that. I looked into seminars on flipping real estate as well. But that was too much. Like as a busy now mom with 2 little kids and work and all the responsibilities, like sometimes you have to find ways that allow you to do what you want to do, but leverage your time and leverage the opportunities, right? And this is how I learned. So one of the biggest ideas that help me, and then things that I work with my clients, is the tool that I use that's called Wealth Dynamics. And it describes how you have a different personality, and based on what things put you in flow, you may have a different path to building your wealth. Mm-hmm. Right? And some people are they're better with like people, and other people are better with numbers and spreadsheets and tracking things. So if you understand where you fall on that on that spectrum, it's easy for you to understand that, yes, if I want to, for me personally, I love, I'm more a person of a business strategy and business growth and things like that. But I always like idea of investing in real estate. So Wealth Dynamic helped me to wrap my head around an idea that I have to partner up with people who are doing this already, so I can, if I have income that I want, or some money that I want to invest in the real estate, I will have somebody on my team who would have time and will have their genius to apply it to use real estate as the vehicle.
Yeah, so you actually said something very important, and that's something that I go through in my course with people. You need to really understand who you are and how far you want to go, because being active investor or passive investor, you need to understand what qualities and what skills you bring to the table to be able to apply them. Because if you don't apply the correct skill that is to you, it's going to be very difficult, right? Like, for example, if you are going to be a basketball player, but you are 5 feet, I would never be able to do it. I might, but it's going to be very difficult because I don't have the height, right? It's just inherent to me. And the same with skills. Sometimes, some people are very good with other people, but they're very not good at doing numbers. So you have to understand yourself. And if you understand yourself and partner up with the right person, then you can actually make that transaction happen. So that's a very good point, Yulia, for sure.
And yes, and for me, what it was is that understanding, I was on this side of the spectrum where I love networking, I love meeting with people, but the side of managing real estate, managing the property, managing all the back end of it.
Yeah.
And the good person that I found that was fantastic doing that were my parents.
Perfect.
And then my parents were the type of people that they're trained engineers, so they have very systematic way of approaching things, like as most engineers do.
Just like myself, yeah.
Yes. And they have started in real estate and took on the training, took on finding the partners, took upon themselves getting the right education and the mindset to be in that business. And they started that business and start looking for opportunities to invest internationally. And this is where the project were. So every time something comes up, they will come to me and say, hey, we have this great opportunity investing into a project in Panama or project in Belize. Or they have this interesting opportunities on the international level that I personally don't have, time and opportunities to look into. But because I know my parents, I know how thorough they are into doing their research, into investigating and doing the numbers, and they explain everything to me, and I said good enough for me to try it out.
Yeah.
And this is how I start investing, being, as you said, being a passive investor that way.
Exactly. But you actually hit in two different things here. One of them is that if the investing it is not local, you are actually expanding somewhere else. And that's what I do as well, because I know that at least where we are here in Canada, in the GTA, which is the Toronto area, it is a very expensive, it's very difficult to get in. You have to put a lot of money down if you want to cash flow. So what I did is I started investing in the US. And I think that what your parents done is fantastic, because they are actually going to the places that are cash flowing, that it makes sense, that the numbers make sense. And that's what I always look for. If it's not where you are, because a lot of my audience is in the US, if that's not where you are, then you need to move out somewhere else to make sure that it works for you. And the second point that you made here as well is who you're partnering with. In this case, your parents, you trust them, of course, unconditionally. But if you are not having that kind of relationship, like with parents or siblings or anything like that, you need to find somebody that you know that they're doing the right thing and that they're actually following through and that they're going to present you the right information. Because being passive is not totally passive. You still have to do your due diligence, make sure that that money that you're investing is actually going to the right place so you can get the right return. So that's fantastic. So tell me more about all of the projects that your parents are doing.
So yes, it's very exciting, and my parents usually get very excited about the things that they do. So the current projects that they're doing, and sometimes I don't even get into too much detail. I just know the very first project we invested with was a resort in Belize. That's far as I knew, and I look at the numbers, and it was fantastic. And I think what also is important is that for them, they have a big checklist. I think it's 15 or 16 points that before you invest, you have to check for these things.
Yeah.
And then they do that, and they explain to me, okay, this is what makes sense, this is what not makes sense. So you kind of you get educated as well, because the traditional way of investment is just people go and, oh, what's your level of risk? Buy these mutual funds and then just hope for the best on the long term. I'm not very happy with that idea. And then consider like the small print and bank taking, but really understanding the process of what goes into real estate investment and opportunities that open up when you, I would say, ready and open for it, right? So you just have money to invest, and there are various vehicles in real estate.
Absolutely. And right now, basically, is you got to be able to see what the comfort level is, and you have to understand enough, right? You don't have to go into the details, but you have to understand enough to say, yeah, this is the right thing for me, and this is what I'm going to be doing. Perfect.
Absolutely. And then they say the risk as well, like the risk tolerance. It's they say the higher risk, the higher the return, and I don't quite agree with this. I think the higher the risk, the more you can lose. So you have to be really smart and evaluate, right? And the more information you have, the more numbers make sense.
Exactly.
So currently we're working on a project on investing into real estate in Turkey. This is where my parents are at right now.
Yep.
Southern Turkey. They retired, they moved there, and then they see that this is a great place for them to live. There's a lot of tourists. It's very developed. There's an infrastructure. There's culture. There's all the support, and a very good opportunity for investment.
Yeah.
So they're looking to several properties. They already built a team with local professionals.
Yeah.
To prepare rental units and villas for tourists to come and enjoy their vacation.
Yeah.
And for investors that are looking for a way to invest and have cash flowing property.
Yep.
That appreciates and also gives you that return, like we would say 12 to 16%, like conservatively, you know. That is like fantastic opportunity.
That is amazing to hear, because that's exactly why when you become a real estate investor, you can see all the things that people cannot see. And it happened to me because before I became an investor, I really didn't see a lot of the opportunity in certain areas, right? So when I bought my first investment property, even my friends, when they came in, they said, I kind of don't like this place, right? But what I was looking for, it was a really good house that I could basically convert and rent, and it was in a location that it was convenient with transportation. That was my only criteria at that time. I didn't even know anything else before that. But it worked out pretty well, and that property's always been rented, and I have really good tenants. So what I'm saying is that when you become a real estate investor, the way that you look at real estate is completely different than if you're just going to live there. And that is one of the things that you have to see beyond of what you really see, if you know what I mean. So
yes, absolutely.
It's to see the opportunity of what comes with it.
And really, like when you hit the nail there, when you look for property for you to live, you look for very different things, right?
Yeah.
So when we were buying our condo with my husband, we tried to wear both hats at the same time. So when you buy as just a place for you to live, you look for very different things. And you said it very, very well. Like as an investor, you have different set of eyes. You look for, okay, what's the area, how rentable it is, what are the conditions. You're not just looking at very nice walls and very nice aesthetics of it. You look for the numbers, you look for the area, you look for appreciation. Like it's a different math. So I really understand and really like that point that you mentioned.
Yeah, you know what? This is one of the things that I can completely keep teaching people, because if you've never been an investor, you don't see what I see. But you don't see it until you start understanding what's behind each one of these points, right? And I totally appreciate the way that you're doing investing, because first of all, you knew yourself, right? That you needed somebody to help you to understand what are those points that you wanted to accomplish. In this case, you wanted to invest somewhere else passively with your parents, and they are doing fantastic. So this is the best way for you to do it, right? So there's
Absolutely.
not really a one way to do. And if you understand yourself, to me, I love to be an active investor, because I like the, working on projects. So I'm a project manager myself. So I like coordinating. I like doing some decorating. And I just like the exercise of moving things around, right? But you have to understand as well, what is your time commitment? Do you have some of the skills, or are you willing to learn the skills? So all of that is very important. So I love that, what you're saying in the way that you're doing investing.
Absolutely. And I also like what you mentioned here is that, you understand yourself as being a good project manager and decorator. And if you don't like this, I personally, decorating is not my thing. Project management, please somebody else takes it. I enjoy like other things. And then what I see is also to share a great story. So one of the first trainings that my parents did maybe 15 years ago, they signed up for a course with and I found a mentor to look for the real estate, and I was looking for in investment properties here in Canada, in Toronto. It's back in the day where you can buy triplex for 600,000. And that was very interesting. So they went and they looked for many properties with their mentor. And I cannot share with people enough of how valuable this experience is, because you don't know what you don't know. And then you need that person who's been there, who helps you understand what to look for, right? And then at that point, I think what happened was they came and they did their math on the spreadsheet, and there was something that was missing from their training that didn't include their time and effort put into managing that property. And when they would do that, when they add that into equation, there would be a negative cash flow, right?
Yep.
Because a lot of people, they don't understand that value of your time, value of you taking care of these things is also important and need to be accounted for. I've met few people who actually work really hard, and then they have to go manage their properties, and it's a lot of work, and then it's like another job for them, and they didn't realize until they got into it. So really taking the time and finding that mentor that will take you step by step on the process, I think it's amazing that you are doing this.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that I learned kind of the hard way myself, because before, and the thing is, to be honest with you, even though you learn it, but you don't understand it because it's not in front of you, you don't have a need for it, right? Mm-hmm. And even though I took some courses before, it's not until I had my property and I actually crunched the numbers myself that I said, oh, now I understand this and I understand that. And like you said, there's things missing. And one of the things that I see constantly here in the GTA is that the numbers are not correctly explained. People call me, I have realtors and I have all of these. I have this amazing opportunity that is cash flowing 13%. And I said, wow, this is good. Send me the paperwork. And when I actually do my own numbers, it's not true, right? Because they're missing either property management or they're accounting for appreciation, which is not cash flow, and so on and so on. And this is exactly what I'm actually teaching, how to analyze a property correctly with everything in there. Also, another thing that is missed quite often is the maintenance. You're eventually going to maintain that property. There is also something that is going to break. You're going to have to redo the roof at some point, depending on how old the house is. There is going to be many things that you're going to have to do along the way. So if you don't factor that in to the original numbers, then your numbers are going to be fudge, right? Like it's not going to be complete, and it's not going to be what you thought it would be. So that's why if you do the numbers properly, it's better to go out somewhere else that the prices of housing is less, and that you have a little bit more possibility to cash flow in the case something goes wrong, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. You need to account for all those things, and what I love that you're saying is that people don't look at the numbers and don't explain it well. So they want to sell you this property, and they said this is amazing opportunity, and that happened to us. We when we were looking for to buy our home, our condo, before we decided to buy a condo, we were looking for at houses. And here came the opportunity for triplex, and it was under $1 million. And I said, it's in GTA, under $1 million, it's still tolerable.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's some tenants already, so it's a great idea to get into. And then there were tenants already, so there are a few things that we didn't know. So you think there are tenants already, this is great. But there's a lot of things you need to learn about managing the tenants and the laws around, vacating the property and getting the new people in, and the difference in rent, right? It doesn't make the numbers go really well if you have people that paying way under below current market value, right? And then we look at that property and we're considering to buying it, and then we look at the numbers and we got the assessment, and they said, you know what, this property will need at least 150 to 200,000 to just bring it to a good workable condition. It's so old, and there's cracks in the walls, and there's old what do you call it? Not mechanical, the electrical need to be changed. And he said the moment you open the walls and some inspector comes from city to confirm, who knows what else you're going to find there. And just prepare to be pain, and these are all the things that you need to be aware of, right? So not to scare people off, but like really be pragmatic, not emotional looking for real estate, right? Like you're emotional when you look for your home, but still it's a big decision buying. So
that's why it's so different when you're buying for yourself than when you're buying as an investor. The rules change, and you said it perfectly. You're very emotional when you're looking for a home because that's where you're going to be. You're going to make your own palace right there. But when you're looking for another property, and now when I look at property, no matter what I do, whether I'm going to live there or not, I always look from the eyes of an investor, right? Like, is this house, if I'm going to stay here for 3-4 years, how is it going to appreciate? Am I going to be able to sell it or rent it, whatever it is going to be? So I always try to look from that point of view since I became an investor. Before, I tell you, it was completely different. I wanted to like the pretty walls and the nice area, but that was it. I didn't really look at anything else. And for the viewers and listeners that are here, if they are starting to become real estate investors, this is important. And Yulia, you have said it perfectly how you started to see, because when people are trying to sell your property, they're not going to give you all the details. They're just say buy it, and they're going to try to paint it a pretty picture, but you have to see beyond that. And it just with practice comes, like the more you look at property, you can start picking up pretty quickly what is required.
Absolutely. It's an exercise of practicing it and learning more about it. And there's variety of different opportunities in real estate. You just need to understand which aligns with the way where you are willing to learn, willing to spend time to understand it enough, right?
Yeah.
So that you can take action. So you don't need to know all the details, but you need to know enough to start taking action. And it is a bit scary to jump in, but it's always worth it, because then I know how many people are still looking to buy their first home because they missed the time. And I always say that even for us, it's that time of indecision, and we were ready, but we were still afraid to take that first step with our home. And it's a good 150 to 200,000. What's the value of your indecision, right?
Yeah.
So always evaluate that. And this is where in really investor thinking comes from. And then you can read books, you can talk to people and learn more about how to start thinking in those terms.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for being here and sharing this, which it was very valuable. So Julia, if somebody wants to contact you, either for just they want to know more about what your parents are doing in terms of real estate investing, or for your own business, what is the best way to contact you?
So it's very easy. Connect with me on LinkedIn. There's my information there. Send me a message on LinkedIn, and then there is also link to my calendar. So if you want to just chat with me or anything that we discuss or anything else, I have. It's very simple. bit.ly link / YUM in capital letters, coffee in small letters, and
it will all be in the link below anyway, but just wanted to make sure that you have the opportunity to tell our listeners where they can contact you. Thank you so much, Julia. I really appreciate your story. This is very, very helpful. And
thank you so much.
We'll see you soon.
Yes, looking forward to more opportunities to discuss investment. Is a very exciting topic.
For sure. We'll see you. Thank you for being here on the show. Please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified when there are more shows available. And if you would like to have more information on how to start investing in real estate, please visit my website at www.aracelyhernandez.com. Thank you.